You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button. Every day, more watch lists come out, and today we saw the Butkus Award watch list come out, which is given, of course, to the best linebacker in college football. Devin White won that award back in 2018, and there are two LSU Tigers on the Butkus Award watch list this season. It's senior transfer Omar Spates and sophomore Harold Perkins. I normally wouldn't go to this point already, but I think Harold Perkins has a legitimate shot to win that award. Harold Perkins isn't going to win the Heisman. No defensive player will, okay? So you need to flush that. But so often, like, Devin White deserved to win the Heisman in 2017. Devin White deserved to win the Butkus in 2017. But so often with national awards, you have to show out before you can win the award. Grant Delpit is a great example of that. Grant Delpit should have won the Thorpe Award in 2018. He was the best defensive back in college football. Quite honestly, 2018 was the best season for a safety in LSU history. Ryan Clark made that very loud declaration, and a lot of people looked at him kind of cross-eyed, but it was 100% true. It's not to say he was going to be the best pro, or it was 2018, Grant Delpit had the best season for any safety in LSU history. The next year, in 2019, he battled some injuries and wasn't as productive, but won the Thorpe because he had built the reputation already. And I don't want to say it was a total reputation vote because he's still really a great player, but I think you understand the point. You have to build the reputation so often before you can win the national award. Johnny Manziel winning the Heisman as a freshman is the outlier. I mean, you have to come out of nowhere and do something so supernatural and extraordinary to be able to win a national award. Well, Harold Perkins did that. Harold Perkins did this supernatural, extraordinary thing as a freshman, and now as a sophomore, coming into college football in his sophomore season, changing positions, he's going to be prime. Remember, we didn't even really see Harold Perkins emerge until after the Tennessee game. After the Tennessee game, it was like, all right, put the kid in there. And then he had the season he did the rest of the way that we all got to see, notably starting with Ole Miss, and then what a monster performance he had against. I mean, look, he kept flashing, but of course Arkansas was sort of the benchmark that everyone's going to point out and should point out. But Perkins is a guy that, again, if LSU has the type of season we think they will, and if he's a 100-tackle guy, and double-digit tackles for loss, and maybe most importantly, when LSU plays these games on a big stage, Perkins flashes again. That's how he can cement himself for this award. I mean, Will Anderson's a great example of that a year ago. Will Anderson had a far better 2021 than he did 2022, in large part because he was impossible to ignore after the season he had in 2021. So you saw teams try to avoid him. That season in 2021, he had 17 and a half tackles for loss. A year later, 2022, he had just 10. I'm not trying to minimize 10 tackles for loss, but the point is, that was sacks. Forgive me. The tackles for loss, he had 30. Will Anderson Jr. as a sophomore had 34 and a half tackles for loss and 17 and a half sacks. He went from 34 and a half tackles for loss to 17, and from 17 and a half sacks to 10. Those are still amazing numbers. Like, if you look up at the end of the season, you go ahead 17 tackles for loss and 10 sacks. You're like, geez, this is the best season ever. And except you look at what he did as a sophomore. So, point being, Perkins had the giant year already. Now he should be able to capitalize even as a sophomore this year. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.